Thank
Okay.
you, everybody. Okay. This is a bit unusual because normally SCORE has its award ceremony in a hotel. And we're all in a big hotel and we have a fabulous lunch. And this year, COVID happened to intervene. And so we were requested by our chapter chair, SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives, used to be. Now we're just SCORE, and I'm the little nonprofit unit inside of SCORE. So the chapter chair said, "Well, you're going to have to do it on your own." And I thought, okay, we can do that. So I want to go back a little bit to how this comes about. There are several categories at SCORE, most of them in the for-profit world, and they give me the pleasure and the honor of picking the nonprofit award, the recipient of the award every year. And so I thought, and SCORE has several criteria, like you have to be in business for 1 year, and I can't remember what else you had to answer, Kirsten. I don't remember. But it comes down to mainly me and subjectivity. So I get to pick, right? And so I thought, who's running a nonprofit that is doing something that I really believe in and is showing promise and energy and motivation and passion. And just so you know, I was saying to, I think it was, in March of 2000 of last year, everybody was at home, and of course we were all isolating because of COVID, and everybody was thinking, I think I want to start a nonprofit. So I don't know how many clients, how many people came to me asking, well, what are the steps to starting a nonprofit and what does it take? And their administrative steps, yeah, exactly. Their administrative steps with the state of Maine and the IRS and their bylaws and all of the things that you need to do to set up a nonprofit. And then I think, and I was sharing this with our author friend from Vinyl Haven, it takes someone who not only has the passion and the motivation and the energy and the willingness, the other factor that goes into it, and is able to communicate that passion, that motivation, that energy to a group of people who are willing, in fact, to say, this is a train I want to get on, and this is your executive director. So if you ask me what are the criteria I use to select, I would say it's standing right here. This is someone, not only are we neighbors and we do the Romeo and Juliet thing, she hangs out her window and I walk by on the sidewalk and we chat. This is someone who embodies everything that nonprofit leadership should be. And that's only part of the equation, because I'm looking out at a board and I cannot tell you, I have between 50 and 60 clients at any one time that I'm working with. And the number one request is fundraising, and the second request is my board doesn't do anything. And I can't motivate them, and I can't get them to volunteer, and why won't they? And so the second element that goes into not only the dynamic communicator and the leadership, but having a board that knows where it's going, can plan strategically, can figure out things that need to be done, get it done, manage and supervise this wonderful person. You are responsible for her evaluation, by the way, okay, just so you know. And be the planning, be that high level leadership and planner that it needs, and give her the freedom, the opportunity, and the support to execute what your vision is and her vision is. So it was a no-brainer this year. I just said, this is a group that absolutely deserves the SCORE Nonprofit Award. And photo up. I'm going to now pass to you the SCORE Nonprofit Award. Well-deserved, congratulations. and I'd hug you, except I'm going. Excuse me, the end of a cold. Got it?
Pius and Maria, do you want to come up?
It's a question.
That's not a question.
This is how she motivates the board.
Yeah, right.
I'll get on the other side. You go this way here.
Hi, Mary. Yeah, there we go.
Don't drop it.
I will not. I will not drop it.
Thank you.
Grab and grip.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Speech.
Terrific. She's going to give you a speech. Hold on.
So when we got Pius and Maria and I got an invitation to the SCORE event, I'm looking at the agenda, which was like 2.5 hours long in a hotel, and they gave me 1.5 minutes to speak, and I was just like, oh. I'll talk about I wouldn't possibly get through everything. So you get to get all 8 pages. But it's really big. It's really big type.
Double space.
No, sorry. Tom has been such a lifeline to me. I think as a group of people, we are full of a love of this mission, but we are a little less full of nonprofit experience, and I've turned to Tom again and again for the pithiest things, like what do I do with these receipts, to the big philosophical things. And as he said, I'm particularly grateful for his help during the pandemic. He was calling it Romeo and Juliet, I was calling it Rapunzel, me up on my deck and him down, masked and laughing on the sidewalk. And I am just astonishingly grateful to you, just always honest with me. I am going to just set who we are. I'm Your Neighbor Book strives to build a stronger America, one where immigrants are welcomed and where first, second, and third generation Americans truly belong. This work is done by facilitating deep engagement with children's books that represent our new American and new arrival communities. We curate, loan, and gift these diverse titles and educational materials to start conversations on modern immigration, refute false narratives about communities of color, create emotional connections to a vast diversity of voices, build the cultural competency of all of our readers, and lay the groundwork for cross-cultural communication. So we've set a huge task for ourselves, but everyone here today and many of the people who couldn't quite be here have made those goals possible. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. First, to Reza Jalali, who released the first picture book set in a Muslim American family, Moon Watchers, with fellow I'm Your Neighbor Books founder Ann Sibley O'Brien as the artist. Second, Terry Farish, who released the first young adult novel set in East Africa, The Good Braider, about a Sudanese girl who became a Sudanese American girl. Maria Testa, who released the award-winning novel Something About America, which showed America at its worst and its best in welcoming. To Ann Sibley O'Brien and Terry Farish, who helped me envision a project that would track new immigration titles and share them nationally with schools and libraries. To Delaney Honda, who spent her 2012 summer college summer with us, building that database and shaping the organization. To Pius, Ali, Reza, Annie, Terry, and Lainey, who spent the summer of 2013 running a year-long citywide read in Portland, Maine, taking those books out of the database and out into the community. To Kim Simmons and Craig Bramley, who attended every event that summer and supported us with very encouraging words and resources. To Dr. Kristen Aronson, who joined I'm Your Neighbor Books and started supporting our work with psychological research. Yes, reading about communities our communities and the communities of others does in fact build a culture of welcoming and belonging. To Audrey Maynard, who every time I spoke about gifting I'm Your Neighbor books to a university so that it could be properly funded and paid attention to, told me to hold on to it and to just hold on. To Antonio Macumber, that took over the database and applied his chill bass player's calm to gathering and categorizing the growing group of new arrival and new American book releases. To Kate Cutco, who came to my 2017 fundraiser to combat the hatred behind the Muslim ban with books. To her for having an idea, a curious idea about somehow putting immigration books on tour. To Kate Cutco and Mark Matos, who sat at our kitchen table and sketched out a collection of books that traveled, but also had an ingenious pop-up display that would feature and celebrate the books upon their arrival. To Kate and Kate and Kate for endless miles of innovations, mileage that we never paid her for, and grants that built the Welcoming Library. To Kim Simmons, Margot Simmons, and the offices of Joe Bornstein that said, yes, this Welcoming Library thing might work, and reached out and supported it. To Audrey Maynard, who said, now, this is the time that I'm Your Neighbor books can come into its own. With her lawyer friend Beth Gorski, Audrey made us a nonprofit. To Adona Shumway, who took me out to lunch and said, I'm looking for something meaningful. I told her about I'm Your Neighbor books, and she turned her operational, hardworking brain to doing all the tasks that make I'm Your Neighbor meaningful. To Amy McDonald, who took me out for coffee and confessed she was not only the writer of award-winning children's books, but she'd also been an executive director and would like to pledge her kind wisdom to I'm Your Neighbor books. And I said, yes, please. Again, to Kim Simmons, who brought her patience, nonprofit knowledge, and fierce dedication to all aspects of this nonprofit forming and growing. To Aziz Razali, who loved I'm Your Neighbor books from first mention and spreadsheeted and cajoled and championed, thank you, the organization and its finances. To Decca Delac, who I had so long admired for the beautiful way she builds community, for saying yes to this board before we'd ever met. And for her constancy and advocacy for us and the whole community through COVID and beyond. To Meg Brooks, we're about halfway there, don't worry. To Meg Brooks and Pius Ali, who took Superintendent Javier Bontana, talked to him about our work leading to the Portland Public Schools being the first city in America to make new arrival and new American books a priority and a focus of their libraries. To Audrey for leading us through our first year, and a big thanks to Pius and Maria for stepping in as co-presidents, reshaping our language goals and our perspectives, all while trying to make this city fair and equitable as is humanly possible. Yay. To the 14 individuals that ordered Welcoming Libraries in 2018 and 2019, trusting us with conversations about cultural commonalities, to the 18 individuals and communities that have ordered Welcoming Libraries in the last 9 months, and to Eldona and Kate, who got them on the road where they can do their work. To Annie O'Brien 100 times over, and Krista Aronson, who grew the Diverse Book Finder at the same time as I'm Your Neighbor books was growing, and teach me every day about the power of diverse literature. To Marcia and Daniel Minter, who invited us to build the beautiful Blackbird Children's Book Festival alongside them, creating an international celebration of books and creators from across the African diaspora. To Mark Matos, who has not only offered his operational creative brilliance almost every day, but who made bookcase after bookcase after bookcase when no other woodworker could keep up with us. To Jen Boggs, who has just joined us but is already offering her clever way with words and is already shaping our communication. To our glorious and anonymous donor, who's seen that the Welcoming Library can truly build a culture of welcoming and belonging in this diverse America, and gave us the funds to meet the astounding demand right now for welcoming libraries. And to Dwight Scholes, who's going to help us shape that phenomenal growth. And finally, to our 536 donors who have trusted us, believed in us, and allowed us to stumble sometimes and soar towards making a more welcoming nation. So thanks to all of you.
Hi, I'm Audrey Maynard.
And I'm Jen Boggs, and we totally planned this. I'm the newest board member, and
I'm a starter. I'm an early in, and I'm going to start and give thanks to 3 people who have done amazing things. I don't know all of them, but to Jamie Hogan and Marty Braun, to Aldona Shumway Seniors, and to Anita Erdman.
and I'd like to thank, on behalf of I'm Your Neighbor Books, Amy Gaddis, family and friends, Erin Murphy, Mary Allen Lindeman.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Aldona Shumway Jr. And we would like to thank Sandy St. George, Bethany Hegedus, Kimberly Gorelick, and Chris Reminar for all of their generous contributions.
And I'm Kate Cutco, giving big thanks to Robin and Rob Witten, Carol Wishcamper, and Margot Simmons.
And we should also thank Kate. She taught me how to wrap books.
I'm gonna sue you, Kim.
Hi, Maria Testa, and
Hi, I'm Decca Delac.
and we would like to thank the illustrious Kim Simmons and her husband Craig Bramley, Karen Christensen, and M.E. Crow.
We would like to also thank Annette Cabby, We the People, Bull's Head Foundation, Susan and Hugh Martin.
Amy, do you want hi, can I with you, or do you want to just
I'll wing it.
So I'm Amy McDonald, and I take great pleasure in thanking members of the entire Kidlit community, children's book writers and illustrators whose support has meant so much to us. In particular, Audrey Maynard, editor extraordinaire, and illustrators and writers Melissa Sweet and Phil Hose, who contributed mightily to a very important fundraising raffle we had last year.
I'm Kim Simmons, and I'm thanking Sean and Carol Cappy, my mother-in-law Charlotte Bramley, Charles Bridge Publishing, and Nat Faulkner. Oh, and the offices of Joe Bornstein, who have been supporters for many, many years.
Thank you, Kim. I am Pius Ali. I want to thank the Bradys, Maria Testa, Maureen Sweeney, and the Chase Atheists for their support. Without them, we would not have been able to do what we're doing. Thank you.